God bless us, everyone.
Hello, movie lovers, and welcome to episode 20 of our Christmas Carol reviews. If you don't know what has been going on, be sure to hit the link in the description for the introduction. It'll get you all caught up, and we'll be able to go over this. You can also find the other reviews on my channel. So today, we're going over 1997's animated special, A Christmas Carol, starring Tim Curry as Scrooge. Now, before we get into this, I have to say, one of the things I was noticing while watching this was a lot of the issues I saw with this adaptation, and there were quite a few. One of the issues I saw, or a lot of the issues I saw, weren't necessarily actors' choices. A lot of them were directors, screenwriter, other things like that, trying to make this very kid-friendly. And we'll go over that a lot. So first off, when I say that it wasn't my favorite Scrooge, Tim Curry did a phenomenal job with this. He really did a great job. Just some of the choices around his character I did not appreciate. And one of the main ones, we'll get into it right now, was the inclusion of a dog. Now, one of the first things they say about Scrooge is he had no love for any living thing. Any living thing. So if he has a dog, is the dog dead? And if it's dead, then how is the fantastical thing of Marley and all the ghosts there? Where's the point? That's the one thing when it goes back to Scrooge's character I didn't like. And then I kind of appreciated the fact they named the dog Debit since he's a money collector. I thought that was funny, but anyway. Opens up and Scrooge is in his counting house, and when the caroler comes up, instead of just getting rid of him, he throws coal. And then sends Cratchit out to get it. And he comes back in and he's missing one. He's really upset about that. But Cratchit's really missing through the whole scene because of that. And there were a lot of other things that go through here that I didn't like from that really took away from the story and everything. So I had to give it a 2 out of 5 on following the story. And then Bad Scrooge, I mean, every time that something happened, he would send Debit, the dog, to take care of it. And it's just like, I don't know. And then the other thing I didn't like about Bad Scrooge, when you look at the Scrooge character, he's not a completely terrible man. Like, he knows a little bit of what's going on around him. He's not just oblivious to it, to be a terrible guy. And in this one, he didn't know that Cratchit had a family. I mean, Tiny Tim slips through, he's like, you have a son? And then when we get later in the present, he shows up, and once again, it's like, what's going on? But anyway, we'll from there. So I give it a 5 out of 10 for Bad Scrooge. Good Scrooge, he wasn't the worst good Scrooge. He wasn't the best good Scrooge. So I gave it a 3 out of 5 on that one. And the transformation, take it or leave it, 6 out of 10. Okay, he did what he needed to. Didn't do anything over. With Marley, 4 out of 5 following the book. Really followed a lot of what we needed. But at one point, he started arguing with the ghost. Like basically saying, I don't need this. I don't need this. You can go away. No, I'm fine. I'm fine. And it really misses the whole point of Marley and him being scared or anything. If you can actually confront a ghost like that, you're not scared of it. You're just not. And it really didn't work with the whole Christmas Carol story. So a 6 out of 10 on the actual interpretation of Marley. Now, The Ghost of Christmas Past, when we went through this whole thing, it started, I'm not going to lie, it started kind of I didn't think it was very good, but it ended well. So we kind of got better over it. First off, it shows up as a mischievous kid as the Ghost of Christmas Past. Kind of like Mxyzptlk from Superman. I kind of thought that Scrooge was going to try and make him say his name backwards, send him back to their dimension, but it never happened. So it was kind of weird how that happened. The one thing I did like, and it will come back to this, was the inclusion of some of Scrooge's favorite books before. Robinson Crusoe actually shows up and everything. But the singing just didn't match with a lot of the songs here. It was a musical overall, so they were singing parts. And when I say it doesn't match, I mean the facial expressions that were animated didn't match what was singing. This was especially in the breakup song, which I actually did enjoy. It was a duet between Belle and Scrooge. I enjoyed the song overall and the idea behind it, but they had like these very operatic singers going through everything, blah, 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 and they're just kind of talking like this on screen. Kind of like an old it was kind of like an old kung fu movie. Okay, the syncing of it just didn't work. And it was such a quick change. Like, Belle, through 3/4 of the song, actually not even 3/4, like 85% of the song, she's talking about how, you know, you can change. We can still do this. I still want to try it. So all of a sudden the last line goes, nope, I'm done. See ya. That's it. That's it. And it just goes on from there. So the interpretation, I did not like it really much at all. I gave it a 4 out of 10 on that. And so a 7 out of 10 on the Ghost of Christmas Past. Ghost of Christmas Present was played by Whoopi Goldberg. Okay, and I actually kind of enjoyed her as there. It wasn't the typical Whoopi. It was just kind of, all over the place. But they had a parallel between Tim and Scrooge. You know how I talked about Robinson Crusoe before? Well, Tim, he basically gets out of the way when they clean up for Christmas dinner at the Cratchits, and he goes over and he sits and reads a book, and he's reading Robinson Crusoe, and Scrooge reads over his shoulders like, oh. I really like the addition of that and how there's a parallel between Tim and Scrooge when you wouldn't normally see it. And then as we're going through the whole Ghost of Christmas Present, Whoopi Goldberg actually does age a lot. You see her go through almost an entire life cycle from when she first introduced herself to Scrooge to when it's over, and you really see that aging like the book was wanting. But anyway, so I gave it a 3 out of 5 on closest to the book and a 7 out of 10 on the interpretation itself. Then we get to the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come. Yeah, the first off, it didn't look like what any other one. It looked like Skeletor. Okay, I thought He-Man was going to have to come out and defeat him, but it didn't really work. And once again, kind of like one of the adaptations I talked about before, Scrooge sees his room, and in this one, before I talked about how he didn't notice, this one he literally looked around his room with him lying there. He looked around, he saw stuff on the wall, he saw everything there. He's like, and you've lived there for at least 7 years. How do you not see that this is your room and put two together that you're the one on the bed? So really, I didn't like that part. So 3 out of 5 on the book, a 5 out of 10 on the interpretation, giving it an 8 out of 10. We get to cinematography, 7 out of 10 on that one. The costumes, once again, like many of these, they did do Victorian England, but nothing special, 7 out of 10. And then the music, I thought at times it took away from it, at times it actually did what it was supposed to. So I gave it a 6 out of 10 on that. Okay, so that's my review of A Christmas Carol animated special released in 1997 starring Tim Curry as Scrooge. Like I said, a lot of the things that I picked on this one were not necessarily actor choices or character things. It was how it was written. But because that is how we're doing all this and basing all of our ratings on it, I had to go over it. So, one of those things where sorry, but you have to be fair. But anyway, if you like what you're seeing, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and also share this with your friends. I really like to get a lot more on here. Be sure to stay tuned for episode 21. God bless all of you, and that's a wrap.